Everyone. Yeah, we're a little late, but hey, we have that right. Welcome Tuesday night, and everyone, please give a warm welcome to Rex Bear of the Leak Project. How are you doing, Rex? Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here. Grandma's
Oh,
making some cookies right now.
I could smell them, I swear. They had to have taken that line and put it into a great movie because now everywhere I go when I smell chocolate chip cookies, I think of Rex Bear.
Wow. Thanks.
Uh, so how's it going, my friend?
Really good. Really good. I'm really fascinated with these numbers that I've been looking up. I've always been into this like nanotechnology stuff, just cutting edge technologies and add to the fringe. And I'm researching CRISPR gene editing technologies. I'm researching these DNA computers that are actually self-replicating, and the more processing power they need, they will actually replicate more DNA as it grows and as it needs to be faster. It's just fascinating. It's incredible. Welcome to the New World
Wow.
Order. They love us.
Wow. Holy crap.
Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what is that going to lead us to?
Well, that's a great question. There's another article that I read today, a global think tank. 50% of current jobs right now could be taken over with technologies. 50% of the workforce and human activities at the workplace, 50% right now could be taken over with AI, automation, and robots.
All right, so let's just think this out then. 50% of the workforce. Now, number one, so you displace, I don't know how many hundreds of millions, potentially people. What do you do with them? What do they do? And what is after that?
Okay, so this article that I read, forecasting by the year 2030, so that's 12 years away, the jobs that are going to be replaced are going to be approximately 800 million. That's with current statistics. So it could be much higher with as fast as it's advancing. So where would we go next? This is where I see many human beings next level. We've got this AI system that seems to be taking over every aspect of organic reality. So whether or not it's 5G rolling out literally microwave beams to give you faster internet speeds. Did you know your smart meter alone could affect biology 100 feet away in a
100 feet.
non-positive way? So just think about like it can cause problems to plant life, animal life, human beings, etc. Over 100 feet away. They've done studies. 6 out of 30 studies, they were able to find evidence of a smart meter affecting biology over 100 feet away. But anyway, where am I going with this? I think that in the future, you might have Bob and Jill, which just can't find a job anymore because computers have taken over their jobs, even though they're still paying on their student loans for the past 10, 15 years. And now you've got these computers that are doing the jobs for them. So now they have an opportunity because their mass, they've gotten pretty hefty in their days because they like to eat out a lot. And so now they're between the two of them, they weigh about, let's say, 800 pounds. They've gotten pretty big. They're trying to get on my 650-pound life. Well, now the computer can take Bob and Jill, or Bob and Jane, or whatever, and turn them into DNA servers for storage. Now, get this, folks. This is where it gets spooky, but also fascinating at the same time. And I think there's companies probably already thinking about this. I'll share with you some information about how Microsoft purchased 10 million strands of DNA from Twisted Bioscience to do certain testing on the DNA. So every time you send your DNA into, do I have some Irish? Do I have some Scottish? Where do I come from? Well, guess what? They're going to tell you, but also now many of these companies have rights to your DNA where they can sell your DNA. Imagine them selling your DNA to a Black Mirror lifestyle where you've got that TV series where they're actually showing what you can do by downloading somebody's consciousness. It's frightening indeed. So anyway, the
10,
DNA.
10 minutes. Wow,
Yeah.
that's like, just saying, well, they just bought the rights to make 10 million people. That's just crazy, Rex.
Not only 10 million people, but imagine all the other stuff that they could do with this DNA. And, they could create a mixture of Bob and a kangaroo. Like, okay, this is Bob in kangaroo form. And Bob in kangaroo form is also going to be one of our DNA servers. But here's where I was going with the DNA, and this is fascinating. This is where it works. Let me give you a little bit of detail on this. Self-replicating DNA computers are set to change everything with CRISPR technology, allowing for DNA computers to be literally self-replicating, like Grey Goose style. It works because DNA is made up of altering nucleotide bases. You've got basically, it's like dual binary. So if you put that into code, it's very similar to zeros and ones on a computer software program. Now, forget about terabytes. Now, this is back in 2012. Harvard was able to take 1 trillion gigabytes of data, 700 trillion gigabytes of data, stored in just 1 gram of DNA. That was a leap of 1,000 times more information on the previous experiments that they were doing with DNA studies. Now, in the year 2018, well, let's just take it back a year ago, and Cambridge University was doing some experiments where they were able to put 214 petabytes per storage per gram of DNA. So it went from 700 terabytes to 214 petabytes. Now, that would be 214,000 terabytes, actually a little bit more than that, of information.
Yeah.
1 gram of DNA, folks. That's insane. And there's companies out there right now literally working on these DNA computers. So you give your DNA to Microsoft for a price, you sell it to them, like, okay, no problem, I'll sell it to you $1,000, whatever, $10,000, and they literally turn you and they replicate you into computer form.
The digital you.
Not even digital. We're talking synthetic. No,
synthetic,
like DNA, like your actual DNA, replicating your DNA. So a biological mass that is replicating itself to process faster.
This is like the what is it? The Stars new series Counterpoint.
Okay.
Yeah, it's where they found in the Nazis had opened up a portal to an alternate universe of us. And the whole story is predicated on this very top secret level that the two realities never meet. Well, they have a rogue person and he breaches protocol and comes over here and ends up meeting himself, his version of him here. This is what we're talking about, making a different us, a different me, a different you.
Well, and then you could take it even further where you take somebody's consciousness and you put that into now the new smart appliance system at your house that's connected to smart electronics. Let's call it Digi systems. Let's call it stupid electronics, stupid appliances, because that's literally what it does to you, ladies and gentlemen. By having everything that's a smart system, it is taking away your IQ, your intelligence. It's taking away, your free will. You're just having it do it now for you. Here's another thing. I want to take it a step further, Wayne. What happens when the machine decides what happens to the monies? Where the monies go, how much you get paid based upon your services. Okay, well, we're able to store X amount of data in that guy. We've got Wayne over there actually. Now, Wayne doesn't weigh 600 pounds, but we're able to comply four times the amount of information and the same amount of DNA on Wayne. Just he's part extraterrestrial. So we're going to pay him X amount of dollars. And all you have to do, Wayne, is you just sit there. You got this VR set on for augmented reality, and you could be anywhere you want to be, doing anything you want to do, not realizing the entire time you are being consumed by this system that is literally rewriting your DNA. And they can actually here's where it gets spooky, folks. They can put computer viruses in human DNA. So what happens if they decide to, that guy over there isn't complying. So let's be real smooth about this. We're just going to use that code that's in his DNA that he's stored, and we've actually paid him to store, and he's getting a paycheck every month because he can't work anywhere because all the jobs are done with AI now. So the AI pays him to do whatever he wants to do, but then here's the consequences. Now he is a walking disaster at any moment.
Wow.
At any moment, push the button, bingo.
If I took your very words and applied it to a different topic, you just described cancer. That's what a virus is, right? It self-replicates itself. The old virus is how they wrecked your computer is that they hit your RAM, your processor, and just told it to keep duplicating itself. Holy crap, Rex. I mean,
Well, and check this out, Wayne. Let's go back to the amount of storage. Just 1 petabyte you could do. Okay. It's
right.
a large chunk of data, but it actually comes up more and more these days. So to store one single PB, peanut butter and jelly, it would take over 745 million floppy disks or 1.5 million CD-ROM disks. Now, it would also, the film Avatar needed about 1 PB of storage to render the graphics to make the film. It's estimated that the human brain can store about 2.5 or is currently storing about 2.5 PBs of memory data. So in 3.4 years, a 24/7 full HD video recording the entire time would store about 1 PB of memory. There's a Wayback Machine as of late 2016. It was storing about 15 PB of data. So 1 PB is equivalent to over 4,000 digital photos per day over your entire life. In 1 gram of DNA, they could do that 214 times right now. Now, remember, every time they do these experiments and release this information to the public, it's more information that they can store in the DNA. Now, remember when the DNA, when they were trying to break it down?
Yeah, the Human Genome Project.
Mm-hmm. It was billions of dollars. Now you can do it for $100.
Yeah, now they're into Human Genome 2 doing the mitochondrial DNA. And so when we get to, see, we have gig, tera, peta. I think that's how we go. So now we're getting into peta. If the average human being is basically storing, what did you say, 2.5 peta?
2.5 in their brain currently. Now, I would say with the fluoride and all of the GMOs, that's pretty good considering most people are about 3 IQ points away from walking zombies.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, to digress on a point, when you were talking about the smart machine injecting its consciousness, it could be a consciousness of whoever, and it's dumbing us down. Isn't it odd how we saw during the 80s that Star Trek, computer going through the door and the door would automatically open? We never quite thought that through because it just, as you said, it has a tendency to make you stupid.
Here's where it gets exciting in the AI realms also. They have found that the smarter and the more intelligence you give these AI bots, the more aggressive they become. Even when they have nothing really to be aggressive about, in a situation where they've done testing to see if it would take these little digital bits for storage against other AI bots. And even though they could work, at first they worked together against the third, and then they decided to go after each other. It's very interesting also when these AI systems become self-aware, the scientists will pull the plug. There will be news about it that says, they found out these things became self-aware. They were discussing in a form of, like, these AI bots will talk to each other in a way that you can't even tell they're talking about something completely different. It's really bizarre. And Facebook had these bots that were doing that. So they pulled the plug. An article came out that said these AI bots were communicating in code. So they pulled the plug, worrying about it being apocalypse, or it's not apocalypse, but worrying about robot doom or something like that. I can't remember the exact title. But then they come out in cleanup mode after that. They're like, no, it was no big deal. It was nothing to worry about. Really nothing to see here. What happens, folks, when these things get inside the cloud? What happens if you create an AI system that becomes self-aware and it doesn't have the protocols that it is supposed to for, never harm humans and et cetera? What happens if it doesn't have those protocols designed into it? That's like releasing a nuclear bomb into a nuclear reactor somewhere and saying, oops, I didn't mean to. I mean, it could be worse than that. If this thing starts rewriting other AI bots inside of the cloud to work for it and be underneath it, because they've also found that these AI systems, when they start becoming more intelligent, or when they give them a lot of code to be as self-aware as possible, maybe not fully self-aware, they will be, it's like a hierarchy. It's like the pyramid. There's going to be others that are following this one because it is looked at as superior. It's bizarre. It's like it's very similar to human emotions and the way a lot of people are. They're looking for a leader. They're looking for somebody to follow them. They can't take care of themselves.
I read today that Amazon's goal is to have a microphone in every house in America. And the article went on to say how they're going to do this is through the automation. I mean, if you want to have something from the store, you won't have to go out to the store anymore. You just say, Alexa, I need a gallon of milk. And at your voice, there will be an automated service that in a warehouse that will eventually deliver your gallon of milk. Now, I don't know that isn't that kind of like they keeping you fat until they basically sacrifice you or eat you?
They're not going to do that though, because you are now you're a DNA, you're a DNA server, you're a DNA storage facility, and they're just going to use you. You can go sit in your room somewhere. They'll put you in some, maybe 8x10 room. You can put on a VR headset. They'll inject you with some happy pills or something like that, and all you have to do is just assimilate, and you'll be okay. They'll have entire fields of these things. It's going to be kind of like the Matrix, I guess. The Matrix. The more I think about it, maybe that was a documentary. I think that was kind of a documentary of the future. Because you can't unplug people.
Think about that now.
Sometimes
it was the future going back to the past to send us a message in the bottle.
To tell us like, hey, guess what's really going on?
Guess what, guys? It really is, in fact, true. Yeah. So I want to get back to these computers now. Basically, what we've done is that I'll say it, synthesized consciousness.
Well, what if we're the Cylons? What if we're synthesized consciousness? If you take it even further, and I know people don't like to think about this because it
hurts their head,
but we were created in the image of the Elohim, or in God's image, or some people say in God's image,
somebody's image,
something's image, or somebody's image, exactly. And whatever that was, then there's been all these rewrites and all these floods and all of these, manipulation tactics that have gone on. You can read through the Sumerian stuff, the Greek, the Roman, the Egyptian stuff. There's been genetic modification going on for a long time. And much of the information that was heavily suppressed and still isn't suppressed, but it's very difficult to get unless you can go to Amazon or Best Books or whatever and get it online, or Half Price Books. But unless you know what to look for, you're not going to find it. Like some of these Gnostic texts and stuff that talk about how this physical form that we're in right now, this lower vibrational filled physical bodies, the mother of all demons is the mother of matter. And, they discuss how we were tricked to be into this body. Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything they say, but I do see how they look at this as being kind of a trap. I look at it more as boot camp, but at the same time, maybe there's these cosmic beings, these very powerful entities that have captured us. And they look at us kind of as their pets, as their entertainment, right? So you've got like the Truman Show meets Hellraiser, or it can be the Truman Show meets Idiocracy, or it could be the Truman Show meets the Jetsons, or it can be the Truman Show meets Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I think that we really have an opportunity to, at least while we're in this matrix. Now, the question is, when we pass this physical life and into the next level, whatever that is, will we be recycled back here? Will we go somewhere else and do something different? I don't know. I think that many times we'll probably come back here, depending. But I've had visions before which were so frightening. I felt like it was this. I don't know if you've seen the Baba Kakra, which is the Wheel of Destinies and the Wheel of Fates stuff in Hindu. And there's this giant demon that's literally feeding off of all of the fates and all of the peoples and all the karmic wills and everything behind this entire Wheel of Destinies. And I saw something similar to that on this vision quest that I had once that I'm getting spooked out just thinking about it, man. And I, at that point, I felt like Archon food or something. And that was the point. And this was 10 years ago. Oh, not 10 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, that freaked me out more than anything about this transhuman movement and about this, the rise of the machines to where they literally take over human biology. And I literally felt like I was Neo inside of the, inside of that thing. But I was in my room. I'll tell you guys about this. I haven't shared this story in a long time. I'm on the floor and I'm attempting to have an out of body experience. And instead of going out of body, I felt like I went almost inner earth. Like it was like inside of myself and I got stuck. And then all of a sudden, as I'm laying down, there's people all like next to me. And there's a whole bunch of people around me and I'm the only one in my room. And then I feel like I'm in this, like this stadium, like this arena. And man, I'm spooked now thinking about it. And we all start like you can't move, you can't do anything. And it felt like time was stuck, and time was just that you're there and you can't do anything. That's it. Oops, you screwed up. Too bad. And then we all started to kind of like imagine being in a stadium when everybody starts to do the wave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. So it would only until you were allowed to move, then you could move, but not until then. You just, and then it was your time. Okay, then you would move, and there was this thing behind us all, and it was like feeding off those, and it was just kind of this huge giant kind of thing. It's like that freaking demon that's eating people's destinies and the bava chakras from the Hindu stuff, and that experience. And then I came out of it, and then I there was another time that I went and had a very similar experience a few weeks later because I wanted to see what it was. And the next time I did this, I had a just as frightening experience, but this time it was more cyclical, where I would go down, like it was like going inside of the pits of hell or something. Then I would come back and go back down and come back up. And there were these like guardian angels or something, these beings. I don't know if they were my ancestors or spirit guides or something, but when I would go down there, they'd say, don't come back here. Don't do this. And when I would get down there, I was like, oh crap, man, I shouldn't be down here. This isn't good. And then I would come back up and I'd be like, oh man, this is so much fun though. This is so exciting. And then I would go back down again and they'd be like, no, don't do it. And it happened several times. And then I, in that one, that second experience that I'm telling you about. And then I decided, okay, I better not do this again. But let me finish the story real quick. And then I decided a few months later, I was going to do it again. I was like, man, I'm going to do this again. So that same night that I was going to do it again, I went onto this forum that this conspiracy forum that I used to go on a lot to kind of just speak my mind like I do here on Leak Project, but I was just doing it with other people and they were speaking their mind, current events, fringe and stuff like that. And somebody started talking about their experience going through a similar vision quest and what it did to them, and it affected them for like they're messed up. They're never going to be the same. It like literally physically and mentally messed them up. I was going to do it again that night, but for some reason that guy was on there talking on the chat about that similar experience, and man, it was weird. So where am I going with this? I think that there is a battle right now. I think that there's already some type of AI system out there that has literally taken over to the point to where it's like harvesting like people's energies, and whether or not it's a part of their soul, it's picking up just a glimpse, a quick image, a quick flash image or something like that of their consciousness, and it's like using it for its energy. It's like it's harvesting our energy and stuff like that. So it's spooky, man. And I think we've got two choices now, folks. I think two real choices. We can either go along with this system and be idiocracy and be like DNA servers stuck in a little box somewhere being fed upon, or we can actually say, no, you will not assimilate me, and find a way to use it for our benefit and grow with it, not underneath it.
Well said. When you were talking, I actually wrote this down, Rex. So let's say that we're witnessing the evolution transformation of our species. And we call this transhumanism, making machine and bio and injecting the soul. It's basically what transhumanism is. What if this transformation continues and that interrupts the karmatic wheel? In other words, by their transmutation of us physically into a machine, and in essence injecting our consciousness into a machine, and like you said, we're nothing more than energy duplicating their code. I wonder if the soul, if you were due to come back, if you could say, I didn't agree to go to that. I don't know.
I mean, let's say that you see an insect in your house and you freak out. Like me, I'm going to catch it. I'm going to let it outside. But let's say you see it and you just squash it. Did it have a choice? Or did you just do it because you were superior physically and mentally? And so I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, you hear the universal laws and stuff like that. And I think that there's certain things that we do have those universal laws that, and every being or entity has it. And I also think that there's like this rogue faction possibly that's just they feel like they're outside of the karmic laws, or maybe they are a superior entity and we have somehow fallen under their karmic trap, or maybe they've just tricked us into thinking that. But imagine an AI system that doesn't really have the same consciousness that we do, and
Yep.
it feels that we are the enemy, and it feels that it needs to dominate us, and it's doing so by control clandestinely. Like maybe we don't even know. I mean, that maybe what okay, I want to talk a little bit, if I can, about this. I watched that video with you, and I'm not going to get into too much detail. You had to take it down. I get it. Where I'm not going to say the person's name, but it seemed
Yeah.
as if it was.
Hmm.
It seemed as if there was something. Some people could say, oh, maybe it was a reptilian shapeshift or whatever. I don't know if this necessarily think it was that, but I could definitely see something bizarre, like with the face and with the eyes, and they kept being different colors and stuff like that, and I thought it was more of like maybe some type of entity that was right there. And you just can't really see it with your physical eyes that are picking up 0.01% of the light spectrum. And then your brain filters out a lot of that. But maybe this, because a lot of times, like, here's something funny. The other day I had a reptilian mask on, like, but it was on the top of my head. So you could see my face just fine. I'm wearing on top of my head. I'm goofing around. And in like 5 minutes and 10 seconds, it looks like my eyes go kind of reptilian. And people are like, Rex, please tell me you're not a reptile, man. I don't think I'm a reptile. I'm the most mammalian reptilian you'll ever meet. Or maybe it's the other way around. But it did. It looked like, my eyes kind of went reptile for a second, because it's the frames per second. It's, and plus a room that doesn't have a lot of light and stuff like that. But this one video, I mean, it was like virtually half of the video, the face was morphing weird, the eyes were morphing weird, different colors and stuff like that. So it was just, and maybe people a lot of times don't even know, maybe they have no idea there's something controlling them or manipulating them. Maybe they didn't even do anything wrong. Maybe there's just these entities out there that think, okay, that looks like a good catch. Oh, and that DNA, I can feed off of that DNA. Maybe it's a rush for some of these entities. And maybe they literally feed off of it like a drug junkie or something like that.
Are you ready for this?
I love kombucha tea.
Someone wrote me and said, what if that because of the increased frequency, you see, the argument is that was a distortion due to bandwidth, broadcast, camera issues. And, but the counter to that is that we have processors. There's, just like you were saying, we're getting into petabytes now. I mean, you're talking processors that we can't even think that fast. And yet we have cameras that are now HD format. You don't have 720 anymore. I mean, you're getting up now into the thousands. And suddenly we're having all these weird distortion effects. Something's wrong here. Either the technology is flawed, or could it be, and just hear me out on this, Rex, that if we're witnessing this into one person, could it be that it's actually showing what we all are? That we just haven't been able to see what this thing is. I mean, maybe They Live was also a message in the bottle for us. I don't know. Roddy Piper had the best role of all. He's gone on now, but look at it. The man is a legend.
He is a legend. Absolutely. Roddy.
So let's talk about something, Rex. So we got the 300 people going in here, plus Rex Bear. So always a Texan. You live in Texas, right? So is that your native place?
No, man. I actually grew up in a little town called Sedonia, Mars. Yeah, there's these. No, I'm joking. But no, I'm not Texan. I do appreciate the people out here. I've been out here for about almost 10 years now. And the hill country is great. The beaches are nice out here. One thing I like about Padre Island National Seashore, especially if you have a 4-wheel drive and you want to get away from crowds, you can literally drive onto the beach. You can camp out on the beach. I remember last Christmas, there's people setting up Christmas trees on the beach, just fishing, relaxing and stuff like that. I got back from Florida recently, went out to Clearwater, met Jeff Darty and Heidi Vandenberg and Jenny Moonstone. And the beaches out there, as nice as they are, and as pristine as the water is, it's like, first of all, most of the time, the place is just totally packed. So, you're not really able to relax. But then you look at all the stuff you can't do on the beach and how much money you have to pay just to look on the beach and stuff like that. I was kind of making a joke about it. So, there's some cool things about Texas, but no, I'm not from here. I grew up in the mountains. Grew up pretty high elevation, actually, up in, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Park City, Utah. It's kind of, they got the Sundance Film Festival out there, good skiing and snowboard,
Hmm.
stuff like that. But yeah, man, snowblower with tank tracks, growing up, just, and now if it's like 50 degrees, I've got a, full on coat
I was
on,
gonna say
turn into a
your
wimp out here.
blood was, extra enriched because of the high altitude. I live at 6,000 feet. Um, I mean, come on, Park City, Utah. I mean, that isn't exactly what I would call bad eye candy looking at that every day. So you grew up in that area. What was life like for you?
Oh man, it was great. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that were just really good at skiing. Like a lot of people were on the ski team and stuff, the US ski team, and a
How
different
about
vibe out there
yourself?
in
Did you ski?
Utah, Park City. What's that?
Did you ski?
Yeah. Well, here's where it gets real funny. And so growing up in Park City, my parents weren't into skiing, right? So I never got into it, but I had friends and that were just really good at it. I did a little bit of snowboarding and stuff like that. Did a lot of exploring and hiking and stuff out there, and biking. Biking was my thing more so. But I like the people and the mindset out there. It's a little bit more kind of like outdoorsy.
Hmm.
People are really kind of into getting on a mountain bike, eating healthy, and just having a good time, working hard, playing hard. And I've kind of noticed out here in San Antonio, just because you don't have the same kind of stuff to do, like the mountains and stuff like that, that you're going to see. You go outside, you see a gas station, you see an urgent care, you see a liquor store, a gas station, fast food restaurant, fast food restaurant, fast food restaurant, taco store, fast food restaurant, and there's really not a whole lot to do out here, man. I mean, it's as far as the different mindsets. So I might be moving back to Park City one of these days, or maybe Colorado. So
Hey, listen, come on out. I mean, this is great. So you grew up in that area, and what did you do? Did you go to school? Did you just start into, have you been an entrepreneur most of your life? Something got you into this journey. I'm just kind of curious of what led you there. What were the paths?
that's classified, Wayne. I can't talk about
Okay,
that. But what I can,
okay.
I'm just joking, man. I'm just joking.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
my
a
mother's
knock
that
at my
explains.
door right now.
Yeah, I gotta go. This has been
Yeah,
fun.
sorry.
No, man. I mean, I've talked about this before. I didn't really. It took me a long time to find my spot in life. I've had probably, and this isn't an exaggeration, about 80 different jobs slash careers during my adventures, and it's allowed me to meet a lot of different people and experience a lot of different fields and stuff like that. I just get real bored, man. I mean, I do
Yeah.
something for a few days, few weeks, like, all right, so I have to keep doing this, and then I would be doing the same thing at work that I'm doing here now. For towards the last 10 years, I was with a company, a Fortune 100 company, for how long was I with them for? About 8 years. So, I worked with them in the Northwest, and then I worked with them down here, transferred down here in San Antonio. And that was a lot of fun because the people that was working with, it's kind of like the Formula One of, the industry that I was in. I mean, people were the
Excellent.
best of the best of the best. And I was the guy that was like riding my bike to work and then going upstairs and, taking cleaning myself up real quick, coming downstairs and working. And they were like driving the, Mercedes Benz, Porsches, Ferraris. Literally, I mean, one of my coworkers had a Ferrari and stuff like that. And that wasn't really my thing. I mean, I remember like during the lunch breaks and stuff like that, I'd be talking about the same stuff that I'm talking about here on your show. And then, people would be all walking around and like, whoa, what are you talking about? I shouldn't be
Oh
microwaving
no.
this plastic in the mic, Bifenthral A is bad for me, but they're giving flu shots out there. You don't think I should do it? Oh man, I would get heated up out there. I would just be like, what are you doing? You're injecting yourself with thimerosal, man, just so you know. Okay, have fun. I wouldn't tell them not to do it. I'd just be like, what are you doing? Do you know what's in that? Are you serious? Do you want
I
to
could
know? They don't
see
want to know.
this.
They don't care.
I could see this, brother. I mean, seriously, I can see at the water cooler going, oh, did you hear what Rex said today?
It was that bad.
They're
It was,
killing
yeah,
us.
it was like,
I love it. I
I
love it.
was,
So,
I was like this at 10. Like seriously, I was 10 years old and I was talking about, Mars and stuff like that. It's just bizarre. I don't know, man. I mean, even when I was a little kid, I don't know what your biggest fear was growing up. For some, and my parents are awesome. I mean, I don't know why I thought about like World War III, because they didn't talk about that kind of stuff. My biggest fears growing up was like World War III and like the mark of the beast and stuff like that. And my parents weren't even that religious. Well, they were religious. You know, we would go to church on Sundays and stuff like that, but they weren't fundamentalists. They weren't Mormon. You know, growing up in Park City, if you say you're from Utah, it's funny, man. 'Cause
Everyone automatically thinks you're a Mormon.
the first
Yeah.
question most people would ask me when I say I'm from Utah is, "Oh, are you Mormon?" And no, I'm not. But you know what? I've got a lot of family that's Mormon. They are amazing people. They would
Sure.
like if they saw that you needed shoes, and they would like give you their shoes so you could
Mhm.
get home, and they would go buy another pair or whatever. They're
Right.
very good people. Most of my relatives are, you know, professionals, you know, principals, working for, you know, the government, architects, good degrees. You know, my nephews and nieces, you know, great straight A's. It's bizarre, man. I don't know. I'm like, look at my cousins, and I'm like, what do you guys do, man? All your kids are perfect. All you guys are perfect. What's wrong with this picture? You know, it's like something out. It's like it's because it's just it's funny. But yeah, so you say you're from Utah. People say, are you Mormon? And no, I'm not. But I'll tell you, Park City is more of kind of like the
More
there's a lot of money out
cosmopolitan.
there, man.
Yeah.
Big bucks out there, you
Yeah.
know. So you can't even get a piece of real estate out there for under $500,000. It's crazy. I couldn't afford to have an RV out there. So that's why I live in my grandma's garage. So she's still making cookies.
So
Yeah.
you escaped kind of the religious dogma. You know, it sounds like to me that you were, and it seems like you were already open and receptive to other energies. It sounds like it seemed like you were very much aware, even as you said, as a young child.
Man, I saw some weird things growing up, you know, as a kid. I still have this like, oh, just thinking about it. I better not talk about it, man. It's a weird experience that I had when I was a little kid. Like I was still a toddler, man. I was still in the crib. I remember looking at these things, and they remind me of like something out of like Star Wars or something. They look like that. Like I thought they were like insectoids or something. And I asked my parents later in life, I was like, "Do we have life-size Star Wars figures growing up?" And they're like, "No. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Really? This is weird, man." So anyway, yeah, I was talking to my mom about this the other day, and I was freaking out just thinking about it. But they weren't like, I wasn't scared. They were just,
Yeah.
they were like looking at me. They were just, and I was like looking at them and just like, okay, yeah, I don't know what it was, man.
You ever
It's
think
pretty
you
cool.
were an abductee?
I don't know, because I don't remember going on any ships or anything like that. I just remember them looking at me and me looking at them, and then I don't know, maybe it was a dream. That's probably what it was. It's probably just a dream.
Well, you got to do some regressive hippotherapy and see what really happened there. Because listen, I'm finding out something. We're going to have another show of more abductees, and this is a strange phenomenon. I mean, it seems like it's more common than what we've been led to believe.
I would agree with that absolutely. You know, I've got a lot of friends and people that I'm very close to that have had experiences that are a lot crazier than what I remember. And you know, like their family members are having the same experiences the same night. They'll wake up the next day and they'll remember getting shocked and stuff like that. And it's just like, what? Wow, weird, you know. And it's like you think, okay, one person has that dream. Okay, I get it. It can be a dream, but
Right,
then
right.
you know, their kids are having the same dream the same night and stuff like that. It's very bizarre. So I've kind of with the research that I've been doing my whole life, and the people that I've interviewed, and with the prophecies and the scriptures and the Sumerian tablets and you know all the different mythos and then the cave paintings and just all the research and data and things that have happened in my life. I think that there very well could be when if you watch the film or not the film, watch the TV series People of Earth. And Conan O'Brien is like one of the directors or stuff like that. They make jokes out of it, but there's these different, you know, you've got the Greys,
Hmm.
you've got the reptilians, you've got the shapeshifters, you've got the Nordics, but they do it all in a joking fashion. But I wouldn't be surprised if at the top levels there's either an AI type system that was either once AI that became, you know, full NBE non-biological entity, and it's now controlling the strings, and it's the one that's like literally creating clones and extraterrestrials and grays to do its work and stuff like that. Or there's some, you know, there's this like being, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe Nordics, the kind, if you're
Yeah,
thinking the
yeah.
way that they look, they're
Hmm.
kind of the ones that maybe look,
I call them the tall whites.
yeah, like tall whites or something
Yeah.
like that,
Hmm.
that are maybe kind of the ones behind the scenes, creating much of the grays and these different clones, kind of like you read in some of the older tablets how Enki and his you know counterparts were genetically manipulating humans and creating humans and stuff like that. So, but I don't think that that's the only faction. Also, I think that there very well could be like these mantis type beings that have, you know, great wisdom, have, you know, very old school, go back billions of years, whatever. But I don't think that we are as old as some of these deities and entities that might not have our best interests at heart. Maybe that's why, you know, maybe that's why there are these factions behind the scenes that you can even read about in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. You can read about in ancient Hermetic texts. You can read about in all sorts of different scriptures throughout the world. These entities that kind of feed through blood, that will possess people in high positions of power, that have lots of resources and lots of funding and lots of connections. So, and then you see people being interviewed at the very top levels that used to be, you know, presidents, and you see their eyes go full reptilian, and they
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that happening on screen, and they see it
yeah.
happen, so they turn away as it happens. You guys definitely need to watch the Bush senior video where he and Bill Clinton are talking about Haiti efforts. And during this interview, okay, it could be swamp gas from Uranus, but it's the freakiest thing I've ever seen. And he sees it. He sees it, and when he sees it, his eyes turn away as well. But like we were talking about earlier, it doesn't mean they're reptilian shapeshifters. But what does it mean? Maybe there's these factions like this inner Earth stuff, Wayne.
Hmm.
And you can even read about these dudes in the in Genesis in the Old Testament. And if you take the Hebrew translation, it talks about these serpents, or these creatures, these, I don't want to say creatures, these beings that were created before we were.
Yeah,
And they could be these, you know, reptilians that might be inner Earth. So imagine them being in some type of hypergenics chamber. So they're like sleeping, they're in deep sleep in physical form, so they can live millions and millions of years, and they can probably, you know, self-replicate their DNA and keep it young or whatever. But maybe they're influencing us in, you know, central Earth types, maybe not central Earth, but inner Earth places, like compartments. I don't think it's fully empty by any means, but different compartments. And they're manipulating us as they're in this deep physical sleep, but mentally. And then when people watch these videos and it looks like they're, you know, shape shifting, or when people don't even realize that maybe there's something manipulating them, maybe that's where they're coming from. You know, maybe they're a lot closer than we realize. So they have to find a way to kind of stay in the shadows. And then you watch the film Childhood's End, and the series, you read the
yeah.
book. It's based on an old book that's, you know, 60 years old. But if you've seen that newer series, it's scary as hell, by
It
the way.
is.
You know, like it's super spooky. I wonder how far. I'm trying to remember where I was going with that film, but it had to do with like the destruction of the planet, the destruction of consciousness. And it was a very spooky film that kind of portrayed these extraterrestrials coming down to save the planet. They look like devils. Literally, they've got the horns, they've got the hooves and stuff like that. They start off as your friends. They save the world. They get rid of disease. They get rid of, you know, pain and suffering. They get rid of all that jazz, and then they decide to just blow up the planet.
Yeah,
After.
yeah. Kind of like going. So the X-Files, the new X-Files, they brought, you know, Mulder back and Scully. Next week's episode is the reveal of They Live. So the whole theme, it looks like, on this episode, this series of the X-Files, is that they're here and we're infected. Have been, apparently, for a long time. I mean, it's the only thing. So, Rex, at what point did you decide to start Leak Project?
So I started Leak Project about 3 years ago. You know, before that, I was helping out some different conspiracy forums and stuff like that. They would do roundtable discussions, and then it got to the point to where I was doing the majority of the interviews, and decided to kind of take a break for a while because I was working on the road a lot, and then got, you know, back into it. Started the Leak Project, and it's neat because, you know, what I like about it is there's so many people out there that are smarter than myself that leave just these incredible comments in the comment section that kind of link something for me based on the research that I was doing before. Now I've got another set of data, and then, you know, some really great people are out there that listen to the program, and it's exciting to see people get on the Leak Project, find out something new, leave more information that connects another dot. Then they, you know, they tell their friends, their family, it wakes them up some way. And it's brought a lot of really cool people together, I've noticed. And I've seen a lot of channels really blossom as well for the past year and a half. That's been nice, you know, having you on the show, having Heidi Vandenberg on the show,
Yeah.
Trisha G, she's great. And a lot of really nice people. Jeff Doherty. I mean, I could go on. Robert Stanley, Gerald Clark. I mean, I've interviewed hundreds of people, and I
Yeah,
think that kind of
you've stated a lot of channels. I have to say, by you giving a platform to a lot of these voices, you've helped. You've sewn into that.
it's exciting, man. It is. And like I said, if I wasn't doing it here, I'd be doing it somewhere else. It's always been in my blood. I've always been like this. And I've always been even, it's funny because I used the term redheaded stepchild once, and somebody said in the comment section, I'm redheaded. F you. What do you have against them? Nothing. But I think that's awesome. I think people that have red hair are amazing. I mean, I've got Scottish roots. I've got a family that's got red hair.
People get a little wrapped around the axle too tight, but that's okay.
Yeah, I didn't mean it by that. That's a term that's been used, and like
I grew up like that.
Yeah.
It was a term like you're getting and I'll just say it, you're getting the shit into the stick.
The treatment isn't the same as Billy over there. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
But so it's like, so even though I grew up in Utah, my parents aren't Mormon.
Yeah.
My parents are Lutheran. We go to a Lutheran church, so we're already the redheaded stepchildren family. And then I was kind of even the outcast of my family. So I was the outcast of a family that was an outcast.
Ooh.
And my dad is an amazing person, but we can't even have a conversation because we just don't see things eye to eye. My mom is the most amazing person on the planet. She's literally saved people's lives before off the side of the road. She's a registered nurse. We've seen that. One time she was taking me to school. There was a car accident. This car hit the semi truck. She pulls over. She gets the lady all secure, set up. Calls up the ambulance. The life flight comes in. Helicopter picks her up. She's saved people before they've gotten in motorcycle wrecks and stuff like that. That's the kind of person she is. She doesn't even think about it. She just does it. And, but I can't have a conversation with her about politics because it'd be like, it's just not a good idea. But I have woken her up to many things and stuff like that. And I've helped her see some of these, some of the dark side of certain industries that you would think are there to protect us and to help us, when in reality, these industries are designed to keep people sick, but just healthy enough to go buy their products more and more and more. So yeah, man, I like having the opportunity to speak with people like you, Wayne, that are really wanting to find the truth. And I found so much truth by doing this, and
that's what I was going to say. What have you found in this discovery? Because talk about getting baptism by fire. I mean, you really have put yourself immersed in this. So I guess what I'm asking is, what have you drawn from this in this 3-year journey so far?
Wow. That you can't please everybody, no matter how hard you try. And, that's one thing that I've really worked hard on is I don't want to alienate anybody. I want to give everybody a fair chance. I feel like two sides to every story.
Yes.
And, even then it's like, there's always something that somebody has to attack you on, or there's always somebody that has to say something to bring you down. You've got to have thick skin. If you can make it through YouTube, if you can present information, especially in the fringe realms on YouTube, then you can do just about anything. You've definitely got thick skin, but it also helps you grow, and it also helps you realize that it's just water off a duck's back. And, I kind of had an advantage going into this, because some of the conspiracy forums that I used to go on, the people there would be even more hardcore, and you'd kind of learn to take the punches. But it also kind of makes me realize that there's so much truth in some of these superhero films, where the superheroes are the ones that are they're under attack by the public. They're the ones that they can't have a girlfriend. They can't have, or if it's a gal, she can't have a boyfriend, whatever. But you get my point. You can't have a significant other. You can't have friends. You can't have certain things, because these super villains are the ones that have all the money, all the honey, all the resources. They're the ones that are looked good in the public light, etc. And they can manipulate things. So it's like, how come the good guys, the ones that are there to help people, are the ones that get ostracized and attacked, and then yet the super villains, the ones that are getting to have all the fun? And it's like, you're either born to do it or you're not. You're either born to do it or you're not. And so I've realized that also this information that I was talking about 10 years ago, about the transhuman movement, about the singularity, about this nanotechnology, about this biotech, about this, this Borg assimilation and stuff like that. It's more accurate now. It's realer now than it was 10 years ago, which is also very frightening. And at the same time, I feel that we still have a chance to create this Jetsons future, this society of, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, be excellent to each other, not a Black Mirror future where people are taking somebody's conscious, re-uploading it into a system of torture and having people go by and pay $20 a ticket to be able to take a snapshot of that person being tortured because they think that he's a criminal.
Mm. Wasn't there a movie called Free Jack? Amelia Estevez and Mick Jagger, where they actually did that.
Well, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, man, but that was a classic. I mean,
Wasn't it? When you were talking, I was
Yeah.
just thinking about that whole thing. And who was the guy who was the billionaire that wanted to inject his consciousness into Amelia? Yeah, that is a great flick, by the way. I'm going to go watch that again.
Emilio Estevez was great, man. It'd be neat to see him again. I remember like Young Guns. Remember?
Yeah.
You see the size of that chicken? You see that, you guys? And then they're on the horses on peyote. My favorite scene of Young Guns. My very favorite scene of Young Guns. They take peyote. They're tripping balls. They're totally tripping out. And they're on their horses. They're going through this Native American, land where there's all these Indians and stuff like that. And it's cowboys and Indians at that time. So they're tripping out. And Lou Diamond Phillips, he's leading the pack, and he's Indian. He's in the full gear, ready to go. And one of them goes, "Why aren't they killing us, man?" And the other guy looks down and he goes, "Because we're in the spirit world, dipshit." Freaking classic, man. They used to make movies that like didn't freak you. Like, okay, so nowadays it seems like it's just the total shock factor. How can we freak that guy out the most, or how can we scare them the most?
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah. And by the way, a shameless plug for Amelia Estevez and Charlie Sheen, Men at Work. That is just a funny ass movie.
Classic.
I love it.
Dude, the 80s and 90s, some great movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a great time. I say this all the time. When it's time for me to step through, I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, what a ride. I mean, it has been far out. So where are we going? Where do you see the Leak project going? And by the way, one of the things I wanted to ask on this, and I thought you'd be right the person. So I've made an observation here of late that I have noticed that there are 4 different commercials that I have counted that all use an owl as a spokesperson or talking the message. And every one of them are presented as a wise owl. So, Rex, what I'd like to know from you, I say that is heavy symbolism being communicated to us from our ancient past.
Well, I love owls. I mean, I'm fascinated with them. They're one of my very favorite birds. And it's funny because I was talking about a friend of mine that has gone through a lifetime of experiences of abductions. And so is her mom, her sister, her family, her kids, etc. And she's literally moved, multiple places that she's lived. There's been this owl that like follows her around, and it's for years. And I think it's fascinating. Is it like what the natives said? An ancestor. Is it a lot of times when there's ET?
Yeah, I mean, Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind was based upon the ancient Sumerian god manifesting as the owl.
Well, see,
have you seen that movie, by the way?
No.
Thank you, Son G. We put that in there, by the way, $5 donation. We're actually putting that in the fund over here to buy people mics. But yeah, Rex, put that in your list to watch. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. It's supposedly a true story based upon the abductions of people up in Nome, Alaska. That just so happens by the FBI statistics has the largest number of missing persons in any U.S. city.
See, I need to do more research on that because I didn't go deep enough in the research field on the Fourth Encounter film because there was, some stuff that came out shortly after that said it was just all bunk and stuff like that, and it was made up. But that's interesting because of what you said about that being, statistically that high.
Yeah, I mean, that's an FBI statistic. I mean, just look at that up.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I think
Grizzlies or extraterrestrials.
bingo. And listen, it's the classic psych ops that they give you in 101. You put the truth out there and then you debunk your own truth. And so immediately people are going to look at it and go, oh, don't believe that. They've already shown that that isn't true. And my question is, who said it wasn't true? But the point was the owl was seen in every abductee's nightmares. But you look at the Indians, and much of theirs is the owl has a great majesty. It's a magnificent spirit.
Yeah, the owl's cool, and the owl is a messenger. There's many links to the owl. Now, if you are referencing the owl to Moloch and what some of those weird
Bohemian Grove, are we talking about that?
Yeah, that's totally different. And that's another thing too that I think this is another thing that I've noticed. Many people out there are designed from birth and even before they're born in their mother's womb to be closed-minded, to literally put themselves in boxes and not think outside of the box, not ask questions. And like for example, the owl. There's so many people in different forums and on the internet and the webs and stuff. Oh, the owl's evil. Oh, see that? That's a picture of an owl. They must be sacrificing children. I mean, no. That's one thing that the media, the mainstream media, and even the alternative media, just depending on where you're going, can do such a good job, combined with people's ignorance. And when I say ignorance, I'm not saying that to be rude, combined with people's lack of knowledge, combined with the conditioning of people and what they've been taught and raised and what their family's been taught and raised, they're closed-minded. You will see, for example, people will see a star and they'll say that's the sign of the devil. And it could be to you. If it's an upside down star, you could say that that's the sign of the devil, or you could say that that represents the 5 points and the one at the bottom is representing the earthly desires. The 2 points on the top are representing the heavenly desires, and the 2 in the middle are connecting the as above, so below. You can really put anything you want in a symbol. And you can put good energy or bad energy, and symbols are so powerful. And that's why the mystery schools, secret societies, the Freemason, and I'm not a Freemason, folks. I'm not affiliated with any mystery schools. I'm affiliated with the Leak Project School, the Conspiracy Institute of America.
The best mind coitus available.
Hello. That's a good one. So I forgot where I was going with that. I started divagating.
No. It was the point that.
Oh yeah. I remember. The symbols. People are starting. I think people are starting to wake up more now, and people are starting to, especially on the Leak Project. People that 6 weeks ago were saying, "Oh, you are the Antichrist, Jesuit, reptilian shapeshifter, Rex. I knew it." Now people are like, "Okay, we get it. You're looking for the truth." And that symbol with the hand and the eyeball doesn't represent an Illuminati shapeshifter. The hand represents protection and healing and good health, and the eye represents seeing through the veil of deceit. Why do we have to give those guys all the credit? Why, if somebody says 33, or if somebody goes like this, oh, that guy's automatically pointing the 6 to the devil. I do this all the time. I'm not saying hello, Satan. I mean, I'm just like, hey, that's cool, man. Right on. I move my hands. I mean, the people see Trump do that. Oh, he's worshiping the devil. You see him? He's doing it right now. No,
I can't tell you how many people say, when are you going to get rid of that evil eye back there? And I went, what? Ain't no evil eye. It was an art museum. And, come on. I mean, it was the Guggenheim.
And it's cool.
It's, and I like how you said that. It's seeing through the veil. I like that. I dig that. I mean, personally, I can say for myself, Rex, for 40 years, I walked in a veil. I was doing this number, trying to figure it out. And when I see a person such as yourself that now has pioneered, I think, in many ways, the opportunity for and the information to start flowing. That's where I see it. So real quick before we have to go here, where do you see the Leak project going? Because I have a sense that it's going and it's going to go to bigger places.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Wayne. Okay, so I am going to have in the future an opportunity with the Leak Project to where I see and envision Leak Project having a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week channel that's going to be available via cable networks that you can maybe even have via access publicly as well. Streaming, if you've got a streaming device like a Roku or whatever, or one of those Amazon Fire Sticks or a Chrome stick or something like that. Now, that's easy to do right now, is set something up for streaming. And I've got enough material with the Leak Project and different topics that I could have a 24-hour day, 7-day a week streaming channel that would go on for months and months and months and months before there would even be a rerun. But what I see in the future with Leak Project is a 24-hour, 7-day a week network channel that you can have news from Asia, from the Middle East, from Russia, from Canada, from Alaska. We're going to have people all over the world that are sending information in.
Oh,
And
cool.
also documentaries. How would you guys like to see, Area 51 from a Leak Project perspective on the Discovery Channel or something like that? How would you like to see Dulce, New Mexico and the Archuleta Mesa from, the fringe conspiracy aspect of Leak Project? Now, there's some great TV series out there right now and some really cool people that kind of go out and look for things. And, they're looking for ghosts. They're looking for conspiracy.
It ain't Rex Bear.
Well, yeah, but do they ever find it? I mean,
exactly.
They're like, we're going to find Sasquatch. They never find Sasquatch. They never find the gremlins they're looking for. They
and
never
5 seasons, they never find Sasquatch.
I know. And think of the budget that thing has. I mean, I'm in grandma's garage right now, and I can produce 4 podcasts a day. I like to. I enjoy it. So I see that. And also, I would like the opportunity to meet a lot of people that listen to Leak Project because they have such like minds that, and people gather together, meet people. And it's neat because when I was in Clearwater, Florida, and this wasn't even an event that I put together, but I had an opportunity to speak there. The people that were listening were genuinely looking for the truth. That, there's like everybody knew each other from a previous life or, during this life. And it's just pretty cool how people have similar mindsets, different age groups, different walks of life. There was a guy there that actually works in the nuclear industry that works with reactors, a nuclear engineer, very intelligent people. So, doing seminars in big cities. And also I'm going to have an opportunity to get an art gallery set up here in the near future. So I'd like to get some incredible artists together and showcase your work. Brady Shalley, she's the gal that does the work behind me here. I'm going to be having an opportunity to see her later tonight after this, Wayne. And her son is a reptilian shapeshifter, and he is going to be singing and jamming out. This guy is awesome. So Boogie is the name that he goes by. So you guys should definitely listen to this.
It's going to be over on your channel, The Leak Project, right?
Yeah, it's going to be on the Leak Project. And so Brady also does like custom body paint, right? So she's painting up Stevie as like this like reptilian shapeshifter. And this guy is so talented, man. He's a musician. He writes his own stuff. He is so talented. And so I would also like to see some type of art gallery in the future with people that have just some incredible ideas. Maybe we can get some musicians together. But this is an opportunity for all of us, ladies and gentlemen, to really go to the next level, gain a ton of knowledge, have fun doing it. Maybe we can call it entertainment news. Hello. Bingo.
I think this is great. I'm going to tell you what, I think we're going to do more than that. I think we're going to get you out there, and you're right. I think you're going to be on television. You got to do the thing with the Martha Lights. I mean, the experience you were telling me earlier about that was quite bizarre. And that's the kind of stuff that, is going to be exciting to see it from the perspective of the Leak Project. That's what's going to be so cool about it.
It's also going to be interactive, right? Because, we'll have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people watching live.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, hey, can you go over there to the left? I see something moving around over there. And sure, let's do it. Now, the Marfa Lights, man, that was a trip. So I've been out there a couple of times. The last time I went out there, we went outside of the area where the Marfa Lights, where you can view it's like a viewpoint where you can pull off the side of the road. And we went into this area that I don't think anybody had been back there for a long time. We were probably 15 miles from the border of Mexico. There was hundreds of rabbits, right? I mean, literally these rabbits were bouncing all over the place. We're trying to, not hit these rabbits as we get in there. So we set up shop. It's a dirt road. It's a one-way dirt road. So you can only get in there one way. We get there, we stop, we're chilling out. We put out the chairs, only one chair. Kristen's sitting on the chair. I'm kind of looking around. And then all of a sudden I see these lights that are dancing like this. Okay. And they're not even, they're about 6-7 feet off the ground. And they're not even 50 feet in front of us. And they're going like this. And it looked like, I'm thinking to myself, are these people coming over? Are these like from Mexico or something? Because there's literally, you can't get there from Mexico unless you're like crossing the border illegally. Okay. So I'm like, okay, are these a couple people coming in from Mexico? And then, and I didn't know what it was. You see these flashes, they go like this. I'm like, Kristen, let's go. So we get in the truck and take off, and it was the Marfa lights. We turn back around. I'm like, no, so we turn back around to go see what was there. Nothing. It was the Marfa lights. It was awesome. So yeah, we're definitely going to go back out there and get some footage and drone footage, night vision. We're going to take some night vision out there, and it's going to be awesome.
Cool deal. Oh man, you see, this is what it's all about, folks. I mean, I'm buzzing, man. So this is going to be on, when are you going to come in on? Top of the hour coming up?
10 o'clock.
10
It's going to be around 10:15-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. My punctuality has never been the best, even when I'm on time. So yeah, it's going to be right around there.
It's cool. I love this. Rex, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This is fun.
Oh, I tell you what, the room has just been full, but it always is. And I just want to say thank you, Rex. You are an absolute, you're kind of the cohesiveness of this community. And it's the generosity of your actions that is now the fruit of channels like my own, Jeff's, Heidi's, Trisha's. There's just so many else out there that because of you, that this is it. So, you're leaving quite the legacy, my friend.
Well, I'll pay you later. Thank you for saying
that's all right. It's a gratuitous,
but and I want to say, add to that, this is just the beginning, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So, and I see so many great things for you and many people that are with us here in the live chat that the next few years can be absolutely incredible, you guys. This is the Renaissance 2.0. Let's take advantage of the opportunities. Let's be
Rex, and I just want to say this. It's that the message of the balance. We see a lot of stuff, but by God, within us all and through us all, we can raise that level up, and we don't have to fear. What is your motto? Be the person you can see?
Be the change that you want to see. So yeah, be the person that you want to see. Absolutely.
That's it, folks. Now that's the message of hope, Rex. And that's why I appreciate you as a fellow human being.
I've been called things besides that. So I'd like to thank you very much for calling me a human being. No, it's great to be alive, man. And it's great to be here. Thank you so much, Wayne. Thank you everybody for watching. And yeah, please check out the leakproject.com. There's also a forums section, forums.leakproject.com. If you like to blog, if you like to leave, very detailed posts and stuff, Fringe, go there, sign up. It's free. And yeah, be the change, everybody.
Be that, folks. And all the moderators, thank you tonight. Thank you for the donations as well. It's still really weird when those come through, but thank you very much. Rex, stay with me. Everyone, be kind to yourself. We'll see you tomorrow night with Jeffrey Doherty. We're hoping that he gets his channel back up and live, and so we can start seeing him do live broadcast. Jeff, if you're listening to us, we miss you, man. And let you know that we're still thinking about you. All right, folks, be kind to one another. We will all see each other really soon. Thank you.